Nice.
Yeah, see?
Nice.
All right, all right,
Uh,
all right. Good dad
all
jokes.
right. Enough of that. Enough of that. Those were good.
So
Those were
let
two good ones.
let's transition that. Speaking of drawing blood, let's talk about these interest rates.
Yeah, we've had a rough
Yeah.
last week in the
Yeah.
bond market. Started with a hotter than expected CPI report last week, basically saying that inflation is still a problem. It came in hotter than expected, and then followed by this Monday. This one kind of caught us all by surprise. Retail sales for March came in well above expectations, like
Mm.
significantly higher. So the consumer, the American consumer, has not stopped spending. No matter what you've seen, inflation high, everything's more expensive. It has not curbed their appetite to spend money. Um, Now, there is one theory that because Easter was in March this year, that
Uh,
lent itself to the consumer the retail sales being a little bit higher. And I can actually relate to this, where when I was growing up, Easter was just some Reese's eggs in an Easter basket. But now kids are getting toys for Easter
yeah.
and clothes and stuff too. So that could be a piece of it. But generally speaking, we're retail sales being up with everything being so expensive and our economy needing to slow down for mortgage rates to improve. It's just not a good report for us.
No. Um, so yeah, you and I have been preaching that it's going to be slow. The rates will eventually come down a little bit. They really haven't too much, but what does that necessarily mean for buyers? I think a lot of the people that I've had and you have were buyers regardless because they see an opportunity where there's not a ton of competition. There's competition, but not a ton, so they're hanging in there. Are you still seeing like buyers like tentatively still hanging in there if they were dedicated?
Well, the dynamic right now is rates have been at this level for a long time now. It's settled in. So what happened really, this was probably late 2022. Rates spiked in a short period of time and it pushed buyers out of the market. Give it a year. Now we're in April 2024, almost a year and a half since that happened. It has settled in that interest rates are in the mid sixes to 7%, sometimes in
Yeah.
the low sevens. And people go, if I want to buy a house, I can't wait. I have these living situations that are untenable, or I just really want to get out of my parents' basement. I want to start accruing equity. I want to put my money into an appreciating asset, because that's the other thing. With rates being as high as they are, home prices being as high as they are, it doesn't matter. Our market is still increasing year over year. Home value appreciation continues. So people are saying, I can either watch this happen and watch all of my peers build wealth, or I can hop in at 6.5 or 7% and just start now and then hope to refi in the future. So I think it's the buyers we have now are wise, they're prepared, and they, not that they don't care what interest rates are, they can see the forest for the trees. They know
Planning.
it's a good investment.
Yeah, so that transitions well into what I'm seeing most with our buyers out in the field. So we have the houses. There seems to be drastic. Um, not There's not a lot of middle ground. There's not a lot of lukewarm. It's either the house is in really nice shape and we're getting multiple offers still because there's not a lot of inventory. Let's face it. So we're getting that, and so we're getting the I need to buy this house is perfect. It's in the right area. Multiple offers, not a million, but two, three, sometimes four. Not like we used to see, but multiple is multiple, and people can make various emotional decisions when you get multiple offers. So we have to have those conversations. And then you have one that's maybe not most desirable, maybe it needs a little updating, or maybe the location isn't ideal. And those ones seem to be sitting, say 30 days, 60 days on the market. And so the conversation you and I have been having with our folks is you need either decide on this kind of house and you got some patience, or you need to be ready to jump. Right.
Yeah, the speed in which someone has to get to a property, a good house that just came on the market, get out, get your showing scheduled, and sometimes get your offer in a short period of time. I have someone closing today that I remember 30 days ago. This happened. The house went live, and offers were due less than 48 hours later.
Yeah. Still happening.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the speed in which you have to be ready to see a house, ready to put an offer in, make a huge decision in a short period of time. Another one of my clients, they they had a multiple offer situation over the Easter weekend, and they were making really big, tough decisions on Easter Sunday. I was on the phone with them. They were talking to their parents, trying to work some things out. So there's no, hey, let's just worry about this tomorrow, or we'll see that house in a few days when I'm off. It's now. You got to do
Yeah.
it now.
Yeah, and if the house is sitting there for a few days, there's going to be some things with it. It seems like. So let's shift to get a little bit, because I am seeing too that houses that need work, especially a lot of work, and even foreclosures are sitting. Buyers aren't like hopping on foreclosures for the most part. Like those are sitting for a little bit now because people want to be able to buy and move in. So if I find we come across people that find a lot of work, you offer 2 or 3K loans. Can you speak about what they are and just a tiny bit about like some of the criteria?
I think classically people have shied away from those programs, and I'm not really sure why. If you've asked anybody that's done a renovation loan in their life, they are probably glad they did it, because they likely got that property below market value, or maybe even right at market value, so they don't have to go crazy, cash above appraisal and crap like that. So you have these people that buy these properties. They estimate with a contractor what are the costs to improve this property. What does it need? Do you need to gut the kitchen and put in new cabinets and new flooring and new countertops? Okay, XYZ general contractor says it's going to cost this amount in labor, it's going to cost this amount in material. They give that to us. We build that into your mortgage loan. It is a separate product. You can do a conventional or an FHA version. Everyone tends to generally just call it a 203K, but I always call it renovation financing, because if you have good credit and some money down, you can go the conventional route. It's a much better program. So it is a very valuable product. We did a renovation seminar last year, and not only are you talking about foreclosures and properties that need a ton of work, but you could take a property that just needs a few little tweaks and you can make it your own with a renovation loan. So it's a lot more versatile than just, hey, this is a gut job. It can be a lot of different things for you.
Yeah, so the conversation on my end I have with those folks is, first of all, we said about their skill sets, right? You got to gauge your buyer's ability to do certain things. Um, because you want the contractor to go in there and know what they are getting into. For example, I saw one this weekend and the person was fairly handy. So I knew, all right, so you're able to do some like cabinets and hang cabinets. You're able to get some furniture and do some stuff like that. But we have to all of a sudden get plumbers and electricians involved in this particular situation because you're not licensed or insured. So you really got to sit down with your folks while you're in the house and gauge their skill level, their interest in what kind of work they're going to do, and kind of come up with a game plan while you're there and looking at everything. The other thing is sometimes banks do a little closing help, sometimes they don't. You never know. And then a lot of times banks won't pay for those TNRs. So you end up paying a little bit more in closing costs, but nothing too and crazy, especially if you can get a good deal. Like you really save that money. So there's different things working with a bank that makes it different working with a person. But as long as you have a game plan and somebody like Tim here, who's done those kind of loans, and somebody like myself who flips houses and has a very good knowledge of what things need to be done and how much it's really going to cost and how labor intensive it can be, you can get a good deal on it and set yourself up for success.
The other interesting part, you mentioned foreclosures, meaning owned by a bank,
Yeah.
and that they're sometimes exempt from paying transfer and recordation tax. So if your closing costs on a foreclosure are higher, that's less money you'll have in your pocket when you move into it to upgrade it. So if we can finance the repairs into it, because your cost to obtain that property, now you're getting it, ideally you'd get it lower than market value because it's a foreclosure, but maybe you're not. If your closing costs are higher, less money in your pocket to do your renovations, let's finance it in, let's do a renovation loan. So that is a way to counteract that, rather than you coming up with more closing costs and
Yeah.
having all that stuff to do later on.
At what point of the conversation do you bring that stuff up with people while you're sitting with them? Do they mention certain things that key off for you, or what kind of stuff?
You don't get the hem and haw. Well, I think I could do this. It's either I want something that's moving ready. My wife's pregnant, and we don't want to mess with any renovations. Or no, I want a project. because that's
Yeah.
how I'm going to build wealth. So it's very rare that I get an in-between answer. It's always one or the other.
Good. That's helpful. So yeah, when you're setting up your meetings with Tim, make sure you have a pretty good idea of what you're getting into. Now, obviously, there'll be like one-offs every once in a while. Somebody will come across something that's perfect and they didn't expect to do it to us, but that's not as often. So, all
Yeah,
right, man.
and
So
by the way, we have an entire renovation division in our company, so we have so many resources to help walk you through that process. I think the fear in the past with renovation products is, loan officers and companies they stumble through them because there's a lot of paperwork needed on the contractor side and things of that sort. What can you finance? What can't you? What types of renovations are valid? What aren't? And we have an entire renovation department for that. So it's almost best of both worlds. I'm still your point of contact. I still handle it up front, and then we hand you over to these experts. It's a very seamless process for the most part.
that's awesome. So we have options. I like that your company does that. They do new builds. They do an array of things. So you guys really are a one-stop shop, and for anybody that's looking for the variety. So that's really nice.
Yeah,
So
and we actually have next week we have some big news about some things that we're rolling out. So stay tuned. That's probably a next month video with you that we'll have some announcements on some new products that we'll have.
I try to get back there in person because it's just more fun in person, even though video works. We'll
Yeah.
get back to that in person. All right, man. So that's our update on the rates. Hang in there and just make sure you're making the right decision for yourself. You have options as far as houses that are nice and new and multiple offers. Be careful. You have houses that may need a little work, but you can do 2 or 3 and save yourself possibly, if you do it properly, you can really make that a great asset. And then making sure you show up to our food truck festival. That's May 11th. We're doing a lot of fun stuff for that too.
Equally as important, first time homebuyer seminar May 2nd.
I'm glad you mentioned that, man.
At Brick. So if all this information is something that you're really digesting and you sort of want the array of first time homebuyer knowledge, this is just a snapshot of it. So May 2nd, the evening of May 2nd, 6 o'clock at Brick. Is it 6?
Yep, correct. 6, 7,
At Brick, we're going to have some food and some drinks, and we're just going to go. Billy and I are just going to go start to finish. What does it mean to buy and sell real estate? So you can be a first-time home buyer, or you can be a secondary borrower or a buyer that needs to sell a property. That's another part that can sometimes be complicated. So let us help you through that process, and let's break bread together and learn a thing or two.
That's the advantage of that one, is having your own personal quirky questions being answered. Because even if you Google some of that stuff, you're not going to get a good answer. So you might as well, if you have a really specific personal question, stop by for that. You can get some food and some stuff out of it, as well as an added bonus. So we'll go over some Q&As and we'll go over the information and make sure everybody's walks out of there knowing more than they walked in.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
So awesome. All right, so that's it. That's our update. It's I think we were very straightforward this month. We were like, here's the reality of it. Like, we're not trying to sugarcoat any of this stuff.
Because we're busy. We do have some people out looking at houses and things of that sort, and it's helpful because then you get really raw feedback, and so it's all top of mind for us. So we're delivering this feedback in real time to you. This is what our home buyers are either struggling with or finding. So we'll keep it coming for sure.
And that's actually how we start all of our videos. Before we hit the record button, it's always like, all right, so what are your people coming at you with, and what are my people coming at with? And we come up with our topics as we see people asking these questions. So these are like not us making stuff up. This is what we are seeing on the front lines of all of our videos.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time again this week.
We'll see you May 2nd and see you next month on this video. Thanks for including me always. I appreciate it, Billy.
All right, sir. See you soon.
Yeah.